Future trends in B2B sales, what to expect in the coming years. B2B sales has entered a digital-first era. B2B sales has changed faster in the last few years than most teams planned for, and the biggest shift is that buyers now control the pace and path of the deal. Gartner projects that by 2025, 80% of B2B sales interactions will occur in digital channels, which makes digital first a requirement, not a preference. In practice, that means prospects will form opinions and shortlists long before your SDR ever gets a chance to introduce your solution. At the same time, buyers are actively choosing self-service over sales-led discovery. Gartner reports 61% of B2B buyers prefer a rep-free buying experience, and 73% actively avoid suppliers that send irrelevant outreach. The takeaway isn't that outbound is dying, it's that generic outbound is getting filtered out faster than ever. This is the new baseline for every outbound sales agency, in-house SDR team, and revenue leader. Buyers will research you, compare you, and often decide whether you're credible before you speak. Winning teams will earn attention by adding insight, not by repeating what buyers can already find online. That's where modern cold calling services, a strong cold email agency motion, and a consistent brand presence start working together instead of competing. Designing for the Rep-Lite, buyer-controlled journey. The core trend behind everything else is simple. Buyers want to progress on their own and engage sales only when the conversation reduces risk or increases confidence. Across multiple studies, roughly 69 to 75% of B2B buyers prefer to research and engage via digital and self-service channels before talking to sales. If your first live touch is still a generic, "Mind if I ask a few questions?" you're showing up too late and too light on value. This is also why vendor preference is being set earlier than most teams realize. Forrester research summarized by Digital Commerce 360 found 48% of first-time B2B buyers enter the process with a preferred vendor already in mind. Outbound has to influence that preference upstream by consistently showing expertise. Through relevant messaging, sharp positioning, and content SDRs can weaponize, like customer stories, ROI tools, and on-demand demos. Our practical approach at SalesHive is to build outreach that complements self-service instead of fighting it. We assume prospects will research between touches, so every email and call should point to a specific insight, a risk they may be overlooking, a use case they haven't considered, or a benchmark that reframes their decision. When sales plays the role of curator and guide, not gatekeeper, you earn replies from buyers who otherwise want a rep-free path. Omnichannel outreach is the default, not a nice-to-have. B2B buyers don't experience your motion as email versus phone versus LinkedIn. They experience one journey with multiple entry points. McKinsey's B2B research shows buyers now use 10-plus channels in a single purchase journey, roughly doubling from 5 years ago. That makes channel integration the real work, consistent messaging, shared context, and a clear handoff from SDR to AE. A common mistake is treating digital and in-person selling as separate worlds, which creates disjointed experiences and lost context when deals move between channels or reps. Instead, build one omni-channel process where activities, outcomes, and messaging live in the same system and the same narrative. When your cold callers, email outreach, and LinkedIn outreach services all reference the same core value hypothesis, you stop sounding like 3 different companies. Hybrid selling doesn't mean do everything everywhere. It means orchestrate the right channel at the right moment. If a prospect is self-educating, email and content might be the best fit, while a context-rich call can be the fastest way to de-risk a complex decision. The teams that win will be the ones that can move smoothly across channels without resetting the conversation every time. rebuilding the SDR engine around sequences, signals, and outcomes. Modern SDR teams can't be one-trick ponies, and they can't be measured like call centers. The job is no longer send more touches. It's create more qualified conversations by aligning timing, message, and channel to buyer behavior. This is where a specialized SDR agency or outsourced sales team can be powerful. Execution scales faster when playbooks and infrastructure already exist. We recommend shifting from isolated activities to designed sequences that intentionally combine cold email, B2B cold calling services, and social touches, then instrumenting performance by segment and channel. Just as important, change the scoreboard so SDRs aren't rewarded for volume that creates noise. The table below shows the KPI shift we see high-performing teams make when they move from legacy outbound to future-ready outbound. Implementation starts with a clean ICP and a dynamic target list, then layering in signals like trigger events and intent where you have them. If your team doesn't have capacity for ongoing data hygiene, partnering for list-building services can prevent the slow drift into bad targeting that kills reply rates. The goal is simple: fewer, better touches that earn attention and produce measurable pipeline. In the next era of B2B sales, volume won't beat relevance. Insight will. AI becomes a co-pilot for research, personalization, and prioritization. AI in sales is no longer experimental. It's becoming table stakes. Salesforce research, summarized by Landbase, reports 81% of sales teams are already using or experimenting with AI, and AI-enabled teams are seeing 17% higher revenue growth than teams that aren't. The competitive gap will widen as AI improves data quality, speeds up research, and helps teams personalize without burning out. For Outbound, the highest leverage AI use cases are account research, first draft personalization, and prioritization, especially when paired with human judgment. The mistake we see is using AI to send more bad outreach instead of better outreach, which is how brands end up ignored at scale. Put guardrails in place. Define acceptable claims, require rep review, and measure impact on reply rates, meetings, and ACV, so you invest where AI actually moves the needle. At SalesHive, we treat AI as an accelerator for strong fundamentals, not a replacement for strategy. We use AI to help our cold calling team and email team get to relevance faster, while our humans stay responsible for positioning, tone, and truthfulness. That approach keeps personalization consistent across campaigns and prevents the template spam problem that sinks many sales outsourcing programs. Common mistakes that break pipeline in a digital-first world. One of the most expensive mistakes is clinging to intuition-driven prospecting, choosing accounts, cadences, and messages based on gut feel instead of measured outcomes. When you can't explain why a sequence works, you can't scale it, and coaching turns into opinion battles. The fix is instrumented selling, a clear ICP, tracked conversion at each step, and consistent experimentation to refine targeting and message market fit. Another common failure is over-rotating to self-service and neglecting human help where it matters. Buyers may want a rep-free path for early education, but complex deals still require expert guidance for solution design, consensus building, and risk management. The right model deliberately places humans at high-stakes moments and uses automation and content to handle low-stakes education. Finally, many teams try to build a fully modern SDR engine from scratch, slowly, while competitors lock in vendor preference early through consistent presence and tighter execution. This is where partnering with a B2B sales agency or outbound sales agency can compress time to pipeline, especially for repeatable execution like B2B cold calling, inbox management, and data operations. Keep strategy in-house, outsource the grind, and you gain speed without losing control of messaging. Optimization plays, turning omnichannel data into repeatable growth. Once the foundation is in place, optimization becomes a compounding advantage. The best teams don't just run sequences, they run tests with clear hypotheses. By persona, industry, deal size, and channel mix, then standardize what wins. This is also where consistent CRM hygiene matters, because bad data hides which messages are driving real opportunities. A practical way to mature your motion is to compare performance by channel and by sequence, then allocate human time where it increases conversion. For example, you might find email drives initial interest, while B2B cold calling services convert interest into meetings faster for a specific segment. The table below is a simple framework we use to discuss where humans versus automation tend to create the most lift. When you treat optimization as an operating rhythm, weekly review, monthly iteration, quarterly repositioning, your outbound stops being a cost center and becomes a learning engine. This is also the moment to tighten your targeting with refreshed enrichment and suppression rules, because lists decay faster in fast-moving categories. If you're evaluating cold calling companies or considering how to hire SDRs efficiently, ask one core question. Can they prove what's working, or do they just promise activity? Next steps, a practical roadmap for the coming years. To get future-ready without boiling the ocean, start by auditing your buyer journey and labeling each touchpoint as self-service friendly or rep-critical. This forces clarity on where SDRs and AEs actually add value and where they're unintentionally slowing the buyer down. It also helps you align marketing content with sales moments that require proof, not hype. Next, stand up one AI-assisted sequence per ICP and measure it against a human-only control. AI should reduce research time and improve relevance, not simply increase sends, so score it on meetings held and opportunity creation, not vanity reply counts. If you want a fast path to learning, run this as a pilot with clear success metrics and a fixed test window. Finally, consider a focused pilot with sales outsourcing to accelerate execution while your internal leaders own strategy, enablement, and closing. Many teams use an outsourced sales team for repeatable outbound work, cold callers, list building, and sequencing, while in-house leaders refine positioning and work complex deals. If your goals include pay-per-meeting lead generation or scaling pipeline without adding headcount, partnering with a specialized sales development agency like SalesHive can help you move quickly while keeping quality and reporting tight.